The manager of a charity in Leicester that helps families who struggle to afford furniture and appliances says he's come across elderly people sleeping on a concrete floor. It's a growing problem and the government is being urged to make local welfare assistance mandatory in every council area.
That's the emergency support meant to help people afford essentials like beds, sofas or fridges. But End Furniture Poverty says almost 18 million people across the country are unable to access support. Catherine Walker reports.
Getting the keys to your new home should be exciting. But for Les, it just caused more problems when he found himself without a washing machine. Last month, he was given one by a local charity, but with his bills piling up, he can't afford to get it plumbed in.
So I'm on benefits, right, and obviously I couldn't afford a washer. I think washer costs about, what, 300 quid or 350 or whatever. I depend on my daughter, basically. I give her money for electricity, for doing me washing. And I'm like being a scrounger, because only, you know what I mean? It's just one of those things.
Furniture poverty is a growing problem, affecting 432,000 people in the East Midlands. As shown in these real-life examples, this means they don't have basic essentials like dining tables, beds, ovens and even carpets. Those in crisis should be able to get help from the local welfare assistance scheme run by councils. But budget cuts mean this safety net is disappearing. And last year, 48 local authorities in England had no scheme at all. Without a nationwide approach, local charities like WorkLink Project in Hinckley are left plugging the gap.
In many cases, so we go into a lot of houses where people, like for instance, we had an 80-year-old that was just sleeping on the concrete floor. There's a lot of social housing where they haven't got anything at all. When it comes to stuff like beds, even a lot of washing machine, any basic needs really, because they can't afford to buy anything really.
Furniture can transform people's lives, turning once empty houses into safe homes. But until crisis support is protected by local councils, charities warn that those most in need will be trapped in a cycle of furniture poverty. Catherine Walker, ITV News.
Well, earlier I spoke to Claire Donovan from End Furniture Poverty. I asked her if she was surprised at the extent to which people are struggling to own basic furniture.
We always say furniture poverty hides behind front doors. You know, people can be very embarrassed to admit that they're lacking in these essential items. They shouldn't be. You know, furniture and appliances have become an awful lot more expensive along with everything else. You know, it can be very hard to lift yourself out of furniture poverty, but sadly it can be a hidden problem.
And why is it such a growing problem?
Well, I think, you know, we've been through COVID, we've been through the cost of living crisis. You know, as I said, the cost of everything has risen. The cost of furniture and appliances has almost doubled. Families who had savings have gone through them, meeting those day-to-day costs. So there's nothing left if something unexpected happens, like a fridge freezer breaks, for example. But also, only about 2% of social homes are let as furnished. So some of our most vulnerable citizens are being moved into completely empty boxes. And this could be people fleeing domestic abuse, people coming from homelessness. So it is a growing problem and we urgently need to do something about it.
And how do you raise awareness about having some of those items available, Claire? How do people find out where they need to go?
So we will say to people, there is some advice on our website. You know, first and foremost, speak to your council, speak to your local authorities, see what help they might be able to offer. Then if you live in social housing, whether that's a council home or a housing association home, speak to your landlord, see what help they might be able to offer. Then it's looking at the furniture reuse charities and the grant-making charities. But for us, it's very clear charities can't do this on their own. We need social landlords to do more, and we need local authorities to use the funding that they do get for crisis support. They need to use that for furniture and appliance provision.
We'll leave it there. Claire Donovan, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
Well, the Local Government Association says individual councils are responsible for allocating funds to households through a mix of in-kind support, direct financial assistance and longer-term financial resilience support through debt advice services. Councils recognise that in many places there are high levels of need that they are struggling to meet. Only 2% of councils in a recent survey thought that funding would be sufficient to meet demand for welfare support to a great extent. And the government says there is a £1 billion fund which can be used by local authorities to help provide essential furniture and appliances.